welcome everybody to another episode of Watch the Throne, a Super Bowl Sunday edition of Watch the Throne. Thank you all my Patreon members who are tuning into this right now. Of course, it is your resident Universal Royalty, King Rickie Rose. Look up here, see it right there, buy my shirt. Thanks, Mr. Fretz, for buying my shirt, by the way. You guys should buy more of my shirts, they're great. Come in hoodies and tanks and tees and everything. But enough shameless self promotion. Let's get into the hot topic for this week. Now, there's a lot of things that have, excuse me, that have been going on in wrestling this week. A lot of big news coming out of the Royal Rumble this past last week. But the biggest news being that we found out, I think, right after Monday Night Raw, or the day after Monday Night Raw, that Dean Ambrose um, had apparently, I don't know if it's factually correct, but Dean Ambrose had talked to Vince McMahon, or there was some discussion with somebody in talent relations, and Dean Ambrose revealed or said that he was not going to renew his contract once it expired in January. Or not January, sorry, in April, right after WrestleMania. Which usually we don't hear about these contract talks and negotiations. However, it had been rumored, had been rumbling around the interwebs, and then all of a sudden, WWE confirmed all of this to happen. That Dean Ambrose was not going to resign, and that they wish him the best of luck in his future, and they're hoping that one day that Dean Ambrose will return. Which was interesting. I mean, they wished him luck in his future endeavors. Um, it seems to me, according to that press release, that he is welcome back at some point. But it makes me wonder, what's his what's his disdain for? I mean, I can understand. His character has been kind of loony, for lack of a better word. His character has been something that's pretty much been for most of his career in WWE an unfinished product. You know, you had the Dean Ambrose Shield version who didn't really have to do much. They were just kind of vigilantes beating the snot out of everybody, and then there's no character development there where you just have to beat up people. And then the Shield broke up initially, and you kind of tried to develop this lunatic fringe guy who was wearing wife beaters and jeans and wrestling and doing all that stuff, but you never got into his character. You realized that he was a pretty decent wrestler. You realized he was durable. You realized people liked him. A lot of girls liked him. Um, but you didn't really get much of that character, and you started to kind of develop his character, and then you got nothing, and you went comedy angle, which is actually pretty good. Then you went like really super baby face, like I'm chasing gold angle, which was great in the chase, and then he became a champion, and it crashed and burned really badly. And infamously, Stone Cold Steve Austin had called him out on it, and Dean really had no response, and it looked real bad on Austin's show. If you remember that episode, it is on the WWE Network. If you want to check it out, when Dean Ambrose finally became champion, then was put on the Austin podcast, and Austin hit him with a really hard question, and Dean just looked like he didn't want to be there, which is sad. And that's a sad case of Dean Ambrose in and of itself, because you look at Dean and you see a guy who has a Hall of Fame like resume, but in my opinion, not really Hall of Fame worthy the first time around. He'll probably make it. You know, he has the Intercontinental title, is one. He's won a WWE Championship, even though he was lackluster. He went into the brand extension as a WWE Champion, eventually losing to AJ Styles. He's won the tag team titles. He was the United States champion when he was a member of the Shield, but however, he was a really bad U.S. champion because he was the U.S. championship at that time, which is kind of a placeholder, and he never defended the title. So he has a really long reign as U.S. champion, but he never really defended the championship at all. He's not necessarily what you would call a fighting champion, in and of sorts. So what happens to Dean or John Moxley or John Goodman, as his real name is, and Moxley is his name on the indie scene? All signs probably say AEW. Sure, but who knows? We got this newer, edgier Dean. Right after he returned, in SummerSlam, and he's been kind of on edge. And you had this perfect heel turn that it looked like maybe for once we're actually getting the Dean Ambrose that we deserve, or not that we deserve, that we need, not what we necessarily deserve based on how he's been treated within the past years. He's been an Iron Man. He's been doing well, but his character has never been there. We finally got this weird, enigmatic character that's all over the place, that's burning things down, that's doing things on his own terms, that's being, for lack of a better word, he's being a lunatic. And now we're going to have him just go away after whatever potential match he may have at Mania. Right now, it looks like maybe him and Triple H and like the CM Punk anti-authority angle, which would be interesting because honestly, Dean Ambrose in this character arc right now plays it better than CM Punk. What do we do? How does Ambrose leave? This is a very unprecedented thing because we've never really been privy to when someone's going to be released. Never. WWE never announces it. They just kind of disappear for the most part. We have some kind of grand disappearance. When JBL retired, no one knew. He just didn't wrestle again. When Stone Cold Steve Austin retired, no one really figured it out. He just didn't wrestle again. Same thing with Shawn. Well, not really with Shawn. Kind of similar to The Rock. Kind of just never really wrestled again. So this is different that they are planning this disappearance, which a lot of people think that means that it could be a work. No, I don't know about that. I don't know if it's a work or not, but it does seem fishy. All signs point to this being a massive setup and a swerve, but I'm not sure about that because Dean Ambrose is legitimately mad. The character that we see now is more of the actual Dean Ambrose or John Goodman than we've seen in his entire tenure in WWE. Look at his chronicle; he's legitimately pissed. So maybe he is pissed. Maybe he's not coming back, and maybe this is just WWE like trying to make sure that they're still in good graces with him if he ever decides to come back. Or maybe he's not going anywhere at all. Maybe he is legitimately going somewhere else, taking some time off. He's going to have to take some time off because once his contract ends, there is that 90-day no-compete clause. So whether or not Dean Ambrose resigns, or Dean Ambrose goes anywhere else, for at least 3 months, you ain't going to hear a damn thing from him. Or he can't perform anywhere else. Or maybe this, I don't know. I'm so torn about whether this is a work or not, which is the best part about wrestling in this whole thing because you don't know if it's a work, you don't know if this is actually if this is actually a real life thing, if this is a shoot, and it's a toss up. It is an absolute toss up here. Um, but what we can say for sure is that Dean Ambrose is taking some time off. Whether it be from wrestling, whether him and Renee want to start having children, Dean Ambrose is not coming back for a while after April. So, looking back at Dean Ambrose's career, it's a good career. He's probably he's very popular in some demographics of wrestling. Overall, he's probably he's like kind of the ugly duckling, the black sheep of the Shield. But if Dean Ambrose never comes back, man, the real person that killed the Shield is Dean Ambrose. Think about that. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Watch the Throne, featuring myself, King Rickie Rose, and the farewell to right now to Dean Ambrose. Wishing the best of luck. Keep watching. Thanks to all my Patreon members for tuning in. And oh, by the way, since this is a Super Bowl, quick predictions. Phil, you're gonna love me for this, even though you're never gonna see this. Rams by 3. Actually, my fault. Rams by 4. 28-24 Los Angeles Rams tonight. Again, folks, this is King Rickie Rose, and I'll see you guys next week.